episode 88 of the Tea and Possibilities podcast. I'm Nikki, and this is a podcast all about knitting, crochet and making all the things here in northwest London. You can find me on Instagram at hippie_Nikki. I am currently taking an extended break from Instagram. I've said before, don't know when I'm going to go back. I probably will at some point, but for nostalgia's sake, I will link to that and everything else I mentioned on this episode just down below. Now, where possible, I will be providing non-Ravelry links, as I know that a lot of people still can't use Ravelry, and I will be marking them very clearly, Ravelry and non-Ravelry. So I hope that helps. As always, a massive welcome and thank you. If you are a new viewer, thank you so much for giving the podcast a shot. I hope you enjoy the episode. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me again. And I actually think this is as expected. This is like semi back on schedule. I didn't do an episode last week. I did one the week before. We're back to a bi-weekly schedule. I don't know if it counts if it's just on this one occasion, but I'm trying, I'm aiming for it, guys. So let's see what happens. Now, I always forget to mention that I have a Ko-fi account, and I'm mentioning it now. It is linked down below if you would like to buy me a coffee. And I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has bought me a coffee so far. I really, really appreciate it. It's so lovely and kind of you. And yeah, thank you so much. Now, before we get into tea, I have no idea if this is in focus because, as I've said before, I don't wear my glasses on the podcast because they reflect too much and then I can't see the little screen. But I haven't worn eyeliner in a very long time. I don't think I've worn them on... Have I worn it on the last few episodes? I can't remember. I don't think I've worn it on a few episodes, really. So I haven't put it on in a very long time, and I decided to push the boat out a little bit today because I've got this new makeup from Glossier, so I was feeling like to put it on a little bit more than I usually do. And I got my eyeliner so perfect. Look, it matches, it's the right shape. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it. I'm not leaving the house, guys. I'm not going anywhere tonight. So I just wanted to point it out so that you would appreciate it. Today's tea is not tea, it is water. I went for a run on my lunch break, and I'm still trying to hydrate. Yeah, I'm trying to get my hydration levels back up as it gets a lot hotter. I say a lot hotter, warmer is probably more accurate. It's not hot, although it was quite hot on my run today, so whatever. But yeah, I'm just trying to I'm trying to hydrate a lot more. This was a mug from my mum that she got me for my birthday. I nearly kind of tipped it up then to show you the bottom because it is a Le Creuset mug. And I have a Le Creuset teapot, and when I was in my teens, early 20s, I only ever had one mug at home, and it was a bright yellow one, this kind of yellow, and it had it tapered down to the bottom, and it was kind of, it looked like an upside down beehive. I feel like I've mentioned this before. Anyway, after years and years of use, it broke, it got dropped when washing up, and I've never had a yellow mug since. I've had many mugs, but this is like a replacement, and I love it. It's in Dijon by Le Creuset. But if at this point you don't have any water or a cup of tea or anything like that, I want you to pause right here and go and get some, because this is your daily reminder to hydrate. Your body needs it. But that's it for the intro, and now we are going to move on to Whipped Up. We are still nailing that done is better than perfect over here. Like, I'm thinking of getting it printed on t-shirts, mugs, etc. Today we don't have any lights even, because broad daylight, it's amazing, check it out. So yeah, I just didn't put any lights up. So the perks of working from home, you can get home in daylight and use the daylight, so yay. I also feel like I've set this up a little bit strangely, and I'm like trying to do this to stay in frame, but hey, here I am, semi back on schedule, so let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. Particularly not when this particular gift horse comes bearing foes. Oh yes, I finished them. These are my vanilla socks. They were my kind of Zoom knitting. I always call them Zoom knitting, but we actually use Microsoft Teams. Hashtag not sponsored. So I don't know why I call it Zoom knitting. I think I was trying to be funny because I spent so much time in meetings, they would zoom by. But if you've watched the last few episodes, you will know these have been on the needles for some time. So zoom, they did not. This is from my recipe that I worked out based on the videos by Meanwhile at the Castle, and it is knit out of all West Yorkshire spinners. We have Yarn Shop Day 2017 and bubblegum, not spearmint, bubblegum. Also, if you can hear any ambient background noise, that is my neighbours enjoying being able to meet people and it being sunny out, literally outside my window. So sorry about that. But hey, this is what it used to be like in pre-COVID times, so yay. Now, I tore through the second sock of these, so I have no idea what took me so long with the first one. I did that thing where I sometimes just get laser focused on something and just went through it. I didn't sound like a bee at the same time, but that is what I did. And they're finished. They are finished. So I am very, very happy with them. They look really cute. But as I said on the last episode, I think the main issue was they're not my colours. You know, I love a yellow. You know, yellow is one of my favourite colours, but when it comes to wearing things, I am aware that I look like Wednesday Addams at the moment, but when it comes to colours that I like to wear a lot of like jewel tones, so kind of like deep dark greens, teals, blues, purples, yellow, love a bit of mustard. These just aren't, they're just not very me, but I wanted the yarn because it was Yarn Shop Day. And it is a fantastic representation of the logo, but they're not me. I thought they'd be cute to wear with jeans and stuff, but nah. I have decided to donate these to my nan. She doesn't know yet. She's going to get them straight after this podcast is filmed. They're just, yeah, they're just not my colour, but she and I wear the same recipe, I guess. My gauge is a little bit tighter, so they do, even though she has smaller feet than me, they do fit her very, very well. She loves a hand knit sock, and I think she'd really like these. They're nice and bright. Having said that, I donated over the colder months one of my first pairs of socks to my mum, which I think I'd knit in West Yorkshire Spinners Blue Tit, and they are a little bit too big for me. Ever so slightly too big. My mum has bigger feet than I do, and they fit her perfectly. So probably at some point I should knit her own dedicated pair with contrast heels, toes and cuffs. But yeah, these will be going into my nan's hand knit sock drawer. That is all the foes for this week, and I've just realised I haven't grabbed one of my whips. Bear with. So I just legged it downstairs and back again, and I have my first whip for the episode, which is my Dreamcatcher crochet cardigan. I'm going to check what that's called. It is the Dreamcatcher cardigan by Sarah Ruan, and I am knitting it out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in Camel Heather. Now, in daylight, I'm not sure about the colour, I'm not going to lie. I wish I'd gone for a more of a taupe than a brown. But, you know, I'm sure it'll be lovely when it's finished. It's kind of a Hessian cardboard colour. And I probably should have gone a little bit more pale beige. But this is fine. This is fine. I have pulled out, in my haste, a couple of stitches. But to be honest, I think I'm probably going to pull this out again, because I just keep getting this weird, it's meant to be a square, so the idea is that that's the back middle pattern of the cardigan, and it's a circle that you square off and then you work out from there, And my thinking is that once I finish this bit and I get to the actual just going round and round in a square, it will be good film knitting, travel knitting. Travel knitting, do you remember that? And it's also not knitting either, Nikki, it's crochet. Crochet, my first crochet garment. So I think I'm going to pull it out and start again, like really give it some attention, spend some time just getting this bit done, and then I can just work on it. Now, I think I mentioned in the last episode that I originally bought this yarn to crochet a different cardigan, and then I saw this one. My friend sent it to me via Pinterest and I completely fell in love. I love the shape, it looks really easy to wear, it looks really cute on. I like the detail of having this kind of pattern in the background. I don't know if it's picking up super well. If we hold it against something black, maybe that will. There we go. However, the issue is that the pattern is written for bulky yarn. And you can really see it in the pattern because where it's bulky, I just feel like the stitch definition is a lot better. But my thinking was, you know, I can just do a few more rounds and that will make up for the fact I've done it in a smaller, lower weight yarn. I'm so articulate today, I'm so sorry. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to work. We're going to give it a good old go and we're going to see. But yeah, I quite like that pattern. It's like a little sun in the middle. And yeah, I think it's going to make a really nice throw on for the summer. I've just got to get it done in time for the summer, which I thought would be super quick, but I'm really struggling with this for some reason and I don't know why. And I think it's probably because I'm trying to watch stuff while I do it. Because yeah, I'm watching the Marvel movies all the way through again and they're very hard to look away from. This is the problem. So I think probably Sunday I might just sit down and focus. So yeah, there's not really much to show for it. Hopefully next time there will be a little bit more. But yeah, I wasn't able to show anything last time because I'd unpicked it, but one day, this coaster will be a cardigan. Oh yeah. Now, I've only got one more whip to show you. And I feel a bit bad about this because one of my lovely friends is having her second baby and I knit, what did I knit for the first one? A hat, a cardigan, a baby vertebrae, and some teeny tiny little Selbu mittens. And I haven't made baby number 2 anything. And I see all those like memes and stuff about how, you know, when people have their first kid, it's like this really big thing. And then when they have a second one, it's like meh, like there's fewer pictures and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like I'm not even the parent, hashtag not pregnant, but it's not even mine and I'm already buying into that. So I feel kind of bad about it. So while I was watching Captain America Civil War last night, I started a pair of baby mittens. And the plan is that I'm going to make little baby mittens and a little matching barley hat by Tin Can Knits. That is the plan. So here we go. I have got it all in here. And this is not as small as I thought it was going to be. This is the teeny tiny baby knits by We Knit Together, and I don't know, like I can fit 2 fingers in there, and I'm knitting the middle size so that it's a free pattern. It's only 1 page of A4, so it's really quick and easy. And there's 3 sizes that's like 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6, and 6 to a year. And I went for the middle one because I was like, well, they're going to be born in May, and by the time, you know, they're about 6 months, it will be kind of the colder weather, so let's go for the medium. And it looks big. It looks like a whole, it looks like a sleeve. But as we all know, you know, I know a lot of things, and about babies, not one of them. So I'm almost there. I'm going to be doing the little finger shaping. I don't know what to call it. You call it a toe on a sock, but like the hand toe. I'll be doing that very shortly. And then they have a little bit of eye cord to join them, and they're super cute. So yeah, even if they are a bit big, you know, pudgy little arms, they can be all warm as well. So It's the thought that counts. The great thing about this is that it is knit in DK, so they knit up super quickly, super quickly. And I am knitting this in Madeleine Tosh DK in Night Bloom. And I got this because I got 2 skeins when I knit, I can't remember what hat it was, but I knit it in 2019 before I went to Munich. And I absolutely loved the colour, and I was going to make matching wristers, and I never got round to it. And now I don't buy Madeleine Tosh anymore for a number of reasons. But this was a pretty straightforward, nice DK in my stash that I didn't mind if I didn't use the entire skein. So I'm trying to use it up, and then that'll be the last of the Madeleine Tosh stash in my stash. Yarn in my stash. There we go, got there in the end. So as I said, I'm going to make teeny tiny little pair of mittens and a barley hat, and Amy of Stranded Dye Works recommended the barley hat because I think she's knit approximately 375, so I will take her on advisement there. It's not a traditionally baby colour really, as you can see. It's quite a dark and moody purple. But I feel like second children are the ones most likely to become goths. So let's start them young. I have to say, I think they're really pretty. I think they're really cute. But again, I do feel bad because obviously baby number 1, I did like whole colour work. I had some Stranded Dye Works leftovers, and I did them in grey and turquoise, and I think there was even a cashmere in there. And they're just getting double knit, quick knit mittens. I feel quite bad. But the problem is I don't have any like scraps. I used up all my scraps on my advent blanket. I didn't think it through, otherwise I was going to make another pair of Selboos. But I think these are cute, and that is all that matters. It's the thought that counts, right? As I said, she's due in May, so I'm going to try and bang out these mittens and the matching hat absolute soonest. So I don't think I will have them when I next come to film, but I will take a beautiful picture of them and share them with you that way. But that is it for Whipped Up. We've got 1 faux and 2 whips. I feel like the mittens don't count because they're about this big, but we're going to count them as a whip. And hopefully there'll be a faux soon, and it'll be a faux set with the little hat, so you'll be able to see those very, very soon. But now let's move on to Knit and Natter. I wasn't going to have a Knit and Natter this week because it hasn't been that long since the last episode, and I'm just not sure what to talk about because somehow I managed to maintain Knit and Natter throughout a pandemic when I was pretty much maintaining the every other week schedule that I'd been on for a few years. And now that things are easing, I'm a little bit like, what should I talk about? Because even though things are easing, it's not like I'm going on mad holidays and doing, you know, lots of crazy things. So it feels like there's not loads to talk about. However, there were some things that I wanted to talk a little bit more about in Whipped Up, and I thought, why not just bring it to Knit and Natter? It's a little bit nattery. You can knit, it'll be fine. So I'm still running, as always, and I wanted to try and get into swimming, and that was a big thing that I wanted to do at the end of last year, and then the next lockdown happened, so that didn't happen. But as it will shock no one, I am really struggling to get booked into the swimming pool because it's just filling up the moment the slots are available a week in advance. And by the time I remember to do it, which is usually mid-morning, lunchtime-ish, it's too late. So I'm trying to check in the morning at the weekends so I can hopefully get to the pool next weekend. Very complicated, never used to be this complicated, and I didn't go swimming when it wasn't complicated, so that is a lesson to be learned for when the world opens up again. But something I wanted to talk about in Whipped Up, and as I said, decided to bring it in here, is that I've let a few things slide over the pandemic. I let a lot of things slide over the pandemic, didn't we all? But I because I stopped using Instagram, and I stopped using Instagram for my mental health. I found I was wasting hours of my life just scrolling through it, and then I was also finding it very difficult because I was seeing things that were making me, for multiple reasons, not very happy. So I just got rid of it, which has been really, really good for me. However, because I'm not using Instagram, I'm not really getting pictures from a Ravelry. And that's sad, because I love my Ravelry and I get real pleasure out of going onto my project. I kind of smushed up product and project then. But I really love going onto my project page and seeing all these pretty pictures, you know, like if you go right to the bottom, you'll see where I started, and like my photography has improved over time, and it makes me really happy. And I literally have no pictures on my actual, hang on. How long have I had these on the needles? Dunno, because I didn't even put a start date on them, and not a single picture of them, not a one. And if I'd been on Instagram, there would have been progress pics, you know, I would have taken them for stories or for the grid, and it's just a bit sad. So that is on my list for this weekend. I want to take some nice pictures. Even if they're not going on Instagram, I just want them for my Ravelry to look back on fondly. And honestly, that's kind of it. Isn't that terrible? I bought some new makeup. I have no idea how this looks on camera. I have been feeling a little bit about my skin, because around February, kind of end of January, February, I kind of had what can only be described as like an acne outbreak. And I say acne because that's the best descriptor for me. I'm aware there are people who have skin issues that were more severe than what I had, who would probably not agree that it was acne. But for me, it was quite severe. My skin has never had those kind of issues. So yeah, I've been feeling a little bit for a couple of months, and it is starting to get better. I'm drinking a lot more water. See? I am trying to eat better, and I'm trying to like have a better skincare routine. And I found a lot of things that are really good for my skin, and there are some things that I'm like, I'm not gonna use that product again. So yeah, I had some things arrive today that I'm looking forward to trying as soon as I take my face off. But yeah, it's been quite nice to have reached a point where I felt like I wanted to treat myself to some new makeup. And I say this like it's a whole face. It's not. It's my bog standard mascara and eyeliner and eyebrow and lip stuff. But I got some skin tint from Glossier because wearing a mask and all that, having actual, not that I ever wore heavy foundation, but having the cream foundation that I had, I don't know, it just was a bit, it just felt really heavy on my skin. And I think because of the skin issues I've been having, it made me more aware of it. So I thought, oh, I'll just get like a little tint. And they're not lying when they say tint, because it doesn't really cover anything. But their stretch concealer is very, very good. So yay. Literal blathering really more than nattering, but that's where I'm at. So yeah, that's just kind of a little mini update about me. Still running, attempting to swim, considering getting a weighted hula hoopy thing in my bobbage because that looks fun. And I just think when I'm silent, I usually have my camera off in meetings, particularly big ones, and if I've got my microphone off as well, why not just be hula hooping? That could be fun. Why not? Yeah, my skin's clearing up to the point where I feel okay talking about it, so yay. And that's it really. I hope next time I'll be able to tell you something more interesting for Nit Ntter. I've rebooked some tickets that I had for an exhibition at the Natural History Museum, but that's towards the end of May. I've got a week off in May and I'm going to get a haircut because I look like Lady out of Lady in the Tramp. No, you know, like the sassy dog that she meets and she's like, he's a tramp, but I love him. That's who I look like. Look, I've got the little over the eye. Looking forward to getting my mop dealt with, is what I'm saying. So next time you see me, I'm gonna look chic. Things are gonna have happened. I'm gonna have things to tell you. But I also wouldn't mind if you dropped ideas in the comments below. Do you want to hear about my Marvel binge? Do you want to hear about how I've been binging fantasy novels? Because those have been my coping mechanisms this lockdown. Let me know. Again, apologies. This was this felt like a bit of a fever dream, and I'm sure it feels that way for you too. But it was a beautiful sunny evening, and I decided to get ahead of my schedule and put out a podcast. And it feels really nice to feel like regular programming is resuming. But don't hold me to that. I hope you're safe and well. I hope your family are safe and well. And I hope that wherever you are, you will join me next time for another cup of tea. Take care. Bye.